Hey guys, and welcome to episode 17 of our Road to Glory, and today's essentially a special video. Usually you would not expect, an upload this soon after the previous one, but I felt like after what Marcus was saying in last video's comments, I felt like I needed to put out another video of essentially the trading mechanisms I'm using and how I'm doing trading wise. So a quick update on trading. Essentially SBC fodder did really well last night. I listed my cards up overnight and I sold essentially all my Geckos for 1.5k when I bought them at 850, 1.3k apologies. All my Sirigus for about 1.6 when I bought them at 2. So as you guys can see, we made about 60k profit real easy, not many risks involved, and that's essentially a small tip I'm trying to give you guys for this video. But the rest of the video, you guys are going to see a lot of analysis on market trends and what to do in different scenarios, potentially what paths to take, and essentially how to compete in this quite, volatile market. Because you're competing against the market trends, other investors, and panic selling. It's three different aspects that are really important, especially in this FIFA 21 since the market is just this dreadful this year. But that aside, hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'm gonna do something quite different this time. We're gonna be using essentially the Footband tracker, Footband market. I'm gonna talk you guys through how to use different aspects of Footband to the biggest advantage, and basically show you guys all the tips and tricks I do to essentially better my position. Because this road to glory is an average purse player's road to glory. I'm not an insane player. I'm not an insane trader, but I'm essentially showing tips and tricks that you guys can use to improve your own trading, and essentially how I did it myself and how I improved, basically how I learned the market, how I made coins, and essentially how my club got to where it is right now. Hope you guys enjoy this type of video. I might do a couple more of these throughout the week depending on how a market does, especially leading up to Black Friday, and showing you guys how I want to basically move on with the team. And yeah, so the two players I'm going to be potentially investing for the team, I will show you guys at the end of the video, is basically are Aubameyang, UEL Live or whatever, and NDD. I think those two are really good players. We're going to most likely get at least 2 to 3 upgrades, I reckon, because Leicester and Arsenal in Europa League are somewhat decent teams. And yeah, no, hopefully they do well, and I might just wait a little bit more before I invest in them. I'll keep you guys updated with that, but otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed this trading and investing tip. And I'm gonna, hand over, the voiceover to future me, who's gonna be talking to you whilst using the Footband tracker. Alright guys, peace out, see you next time. Alright guys, now we're going to continue with something I find personally very useful when it comes to trading. So as you can see, I'm currently on Footband, so footband.com, and I'm specifically in the market tab, and I'm in index. So what this shows you is basically how the market's doing. And you see day to day, basically this is the change for today, 0.87 within the last about hour. So you can go into live graphs, you can see it shows you the index as basically for the whole entire day, or the segment of the day. You could go through days per day. As you can see, the market's been absolutely atrocious since the start of FIFA. Hourly graph, same thing. You can see fluctuations. So we have slight increases to 5.88 and then 5.66. So essentially, I'm using this quite often to basically look at potential investments. So here's a page I really like. So obviously, this price range is a little insane, but you can see how the market's doing with these somewhat really, meta cards, or really popular cards. You can see the market's dropping like crazy, and these are potential investments here, or here, or even stuff that's dropping really badly. Like this Griezmann right now, 49k. He's out of pack he's back into packs, so he that's why he's probably dropping. Had you purchased him before team road to the final team 1, you could have probably made a bit of coins there. Stuff like that, just understanding market trends, which is the next thing we're going to try to get at. Another useful tab I do would be using, where is it? I think here, cheapest players by rating. So as you guys can see here, there's ratings from 81 all the way to however high you want to go. I think 92 or 93. So what's really interesting for SBCs, you want to look at 83 rated and 84 rated, in my opinion, for people with lower budgets. If you have around 300 to 400 coins, you can maybe stretch it to 85 and 86, but I recommend staying in this bracket. Even with my 800,000 coins, I stayed within this bracket, and as you guys can see, as you guys saw from the Gecko and the Sirigu, we made about 40k on Sirigu and about 20 something k, 18 to 20k on Gecko. Really simple tactic. It's super low risk, because all these cards now they're 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, as you guys can see, right? As 83 rated. Before, when I purchased him, Gecko was right now 1.5. He was at 850, 800 coins on bid. That's 600 to 700 coins per card. Multiply that by 50. That's a lot of coins, you know? That's a lot of easy coins, super low risk. Because these guys will never drop. Just think, a normal rare gold card that's 75 rated is worth 600 coins. This card, correct? Why would one card that's 8 whole ratings above only be worth 150 coins more? Like, it just doesn't make sense in terms of value, not even necessarily usability in game, but mainly just SBC worthiness. And honestly, it's super easy investments. Like 1.3 is still somewhat low, but I wouldn't necessarily invest since there's a lot of different 83 cards. And 84, same thing. Like, it was around 2k for Sirigu, and now as you guys can see, Sirigu's 3k, like a whole entire 1,000 coins per card, multiplied by how many you invested. 66 I did, but that's 66,000 coins if I was essentially a bit more patient. Not even patient, because I list my cards essentially hourly during the day, and at night I leave it up for 6 hours, hoping there might be a sudden market like peak, and I want to, like, you know, be able to have my cards on the market. This is another issue. Of course, listing it per hour allows you to adjust prices as efficiently as possible. Another tab I like to use is the tracker on Footband, arguably the most useful one. So here, as you guys can see, I have all my investments put down. I have Thomas Partey that I bought at 97, now 160. Nelson Semedo 100, 122. Gareth Bale is currently maintaining his price. I don't mind, because this, after a game or a little bit of hype, this thing will spike to 230, 240, and that'll be fine. And if he gets an inform, probably 350, 400. Sirigu, as you guys can see, we bought 66 Sirigus. If we click on him, you can see the market trend, 2.4. So what were we yesterday? We were the 13th yesterday. So when I listed him around, I listed him around 1 a.m. 2.2. I listed him at 2.6, hoping that the market would spike a little bit. Around what? Around 8. Yeah, so here, around 2k, like this 1 a.m., I listed it like around 2k, 2.1, 2.2, and then during the night, went up to 2.9 by 4 a.m. Obviously, I'm asleep by 4 a.m. That's 3 hours, so my cards would have been from this range all the way to 6 a.m., and they would have hit peak 2.6, 2.9. So had I waited maybe even till this morning, he would be at 3k, but, you know, I don't want to just leave my cards just sitting in my transfer list, because that, for me, doesn't have value, and so there's no real point in doing so. So yeah, you can either be like, you know, if you want to check every hour for the prices to change, you know, it might get a little mentally straining. And this is, for me, it's just a game. It's not like, you know, like stocks in real life. You don't need to be checking it constantly. So I just listed them overnight, got hopeful, 2.6. I'm really happy. That's 40k profit instead of potentially 60. Yeah, but, you know, even a little bit of profit is much more useful. Same thing with Dzeko. I sold him at 1.2. Now he's 1.5. Could have had a little more coins. Could have had 28. Instead, I get 18. You know what? I'm not complaining too much. As you guys can see here, we're taking about 55k loss on these two cards. These two I don't mind, because these two definitely go up. Although it's kind of a pain. I didn't expect him to drop that much, because the market, you know, on Thursdays and Fridays usually goes really well. But yeah, so this is just me being transparent with you. Like, as you can see, sometimes I make bad investments too. Like, everybody's human, and this market in FIFA 21 is super unpredictable. But that being said, this, I agree, was a little high as a price I bought. I would prefer to buy around 15.5 or 15. But I'm not too worried, because I'm holding on to it. And I'm going to explain to you like why. Because I'm waiting for essentially the French League SBC, or even later on down the road, there's going to be an SBC that requires more informs. And then now that all the other informs have been bought, there's going to be less on the market, right? Because the cheaper ones are all gone, and people will naturally go to the next cheapest one. So by the time they get to like cards like this, and no longer like the Haradecki 85 or the Castiles 85 or the Pacheco 84s, they will probably go to positions like this, who are the next cheapest ones for similar ratings. That's why I'm holding onto them, and I'm not panic selling. The next thing I want to talk about is market trends. So here I put down a couple trends that I've analyzed and essentially learned throughout FIFA 21, because you have to realize that every year the market's different. So you guys sort of like learn and adapt to the new market. All right, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is SBC fodder. So how to invest in SBC fodder. So if we go back to cheapest player by rating, what I'm interested in is 83, 84, 85 to 86, maybe even 87 occasionally. Because you see, like, the prices isn't like that crazy different. So maybe even this bracket could be somewhat affordable. So my tactic is, I buy these cards on peak supply days. So reward days. On Mondays for squad battles, on Thursdays for division rivals and foot champs. And even during the weekend, because people are buying teams. And by the end of the weekend, you could potentially go for it, but I don't see like many people listing these type of cards. You'll probably see like first team players, like the higher rated cards being listed after people are done with their teams. That being said, you hold on to them and you wait about 2 to 3 days after an SBC is released. Because obviously when an SBC is released, a lot of people will naturally go to community SBC solutions. For example, if I search, let's go challenges, let's go to the, do you guys want to do the Sun one or the, let's do Alexandro, because I think not many people will do, hello, please, where's Alexandro? Oh, actually I have to click this, top 4. All right, Alexandro, so if we, let's say we click one of them, right? Let's go for squad easy, he's called easy. So you guys can see here are a couple players, right? So like, let me give you an example. Imagine you invested in like, what's an 83 striker from, like, let's say you invested in a like a Saul or something, right? So he's 84, right? And 84, like 85, 86, it's really similar within the price range. So once all of these cards are going to be picked up by people using this cheapest solution, naturally these cards will get more expensive. That means that the cards that are next in line in prices will be the next, essentially, more demanded cards. This will usually come 2 or 3 days later, so that's why you just don't wait. For example, a lot of other SBCs used goalkeepers like Perrin, Paul Lopez, and who else was there? But like Serie A goalkeepers that were quite cheap, like Strakosha and all that, 83 rated. Naturally, as all of them diminish on the market, their prices are going to rise. This means that people will divert their interest into other players like Sirigu, which is just 1 rating above, and that will cause his price to rise. So essentially, you don't panic. If you see that your card or the cards you've invested in are not in SBC solutions, just hold on to them. Wait 2 to 3 days, and you will see the prices will naturally rise because demand for these cards will shift as the supply of these other lower cards will be gone. So that's a really interesting tactic. Never panic sell. Like if people panic sell, in my opinion, you invest even more, you throw in even more, you double down on the same investment you did, because in the long run it's going to pay off. There's no way cards like 84 rated will maintain a 2k price for SBCs that are going to be better and better. It just doesn't make sense. Same thing for Jekko, same idea. The next thing I want to bring up is so out of pack specials. So this would be like if I search on FIFA players and I go to versions and I go road to the final. Where's road to the final? RTTF, hello. What is this? Okay. Wants to watch. Is it in revision? Alright, I'm just gonna give you guys an example with it's called a UCL Live. Ah, there you go. Okay, UCL Live. So here we're gonna search UCL Live. As you guys can see, everything's quite low compared to what it was. Rashford was around 1.2 before. Hazard has maintained his price, but he's a new player, so it's Gabriel Jesus, so that's expected. Griezmann has dropped to 535, which is really low for a Griezmann card. He's sure to get an upgrade. I would potentially pick one up here. Klosterman has got a lot of demand, so I wouldn't necessarily pick him up because there's probably a lot of investors in it. Quincy Promes, new card and all that. So as you guys can see, these cards have essentially maintained their price quite a bit, apart from the odd like big like different maker. I don't know why. For some reason Griezmann has lost his price, but Oblak has gained his price, and you would think that Oblak would diminish since there would be less demand for Oblak than Griezmann. But anyways, that being said, my main analysis for most, like 90% of like cards that have been released, so from like special events, either UCL Live or UEFA Live or like rule breakers, is they will rise in price 1 to 2 weeks after they are out of packs. What this means is that I made a mistake when I invested in this Griezmann immediately the day, essentially the last day before he's out of packs, because I thought to myself everybody's going to want to list him and before like the supply is gone and make the most amount of money while the price is quite inflated. But I was wrong. Apparently with this card I was wrong, so naturally you always make some mistakes but then you can learn. That means that if you want to invest in out of pack special, I'd wait potentially 1 week to 2 weeks later. And you have to also remember that this also is due to the second team coming out. So potentially for the first team, you might have a different analysis than you have for the second team. For the first team, it might be best to buy it mid-second team of like release. For the second team, it might be best to invest 2 weeks after it's gone. So there's different adaptability. You have to be flexible in this market, because this market is really volatile in FIFA 21. The next thing I want to talk about is whenever there's supply in the market will naturally go down, because the more supply there is, it means like there's more competition, and naturally people are going to buy the cheaper one, and people are going to undercut, and that's going to bring the market down. That's going to bring stuff like the market index all the way down, and it's just honestly not worth it. But yeah, so you have other things you can watch if you want to specifically invest in, let's say UCLs. I think this might just be the UCL, like the blue cards, which I don't really recommend, but ones to watches you can look at. So you see ones to watches are being quite inflated. 109.1. So it might be a good time to sell if you guys are seeing your players play soon. So like Semedo playing for Portugal against France, I might, keep him. Hopefully he gets hyped up and hopefully he makes the starting lineup. Same thing with Wales against Ireland and Bale. That's essentially my 2 cards I'm holding on to. But yeah, so what I was gonna say is when supply increases, you just have to bring it down. And stuff like untradeable packs will naturally cause the market to go up. So untradeable SBCs, because they take cards off the market and instead they bring cards that can't be put on the market. So stuff like this does help the market, although it's painful. It's quite useful for you. So I would recommend not necessarily investing in these untradeable packs, but analyzing the market when untradeable SBCs come out, because a lot of people do them. Next thing I want to point out is you have to learn to cut for profits. For example, a lot of people will see this, right? This Sirigu. I sold him at 2.6. A lot of people will see him at 3. The next time, let's say another, next month's Player of the Month SBCs, he'll probably go back down to 2K at some point. People are going to wait and hold on to him until he's 3K. I don't think that's a good tactic. Because naturally, yes, you might make more money. You might have to wait 2 or 3 more days to make more money. But if you make 2.6, that's 40K profit that you can use now and reinvest now and flip for more coins in between waiting for this for 3 more days. So that was a mistake I did. My investment was a little too early, but I didn't mind because I wasn't really wanting to invest in this really volatile market the last few days, with Monday and Tuesday being quite down. But that being said, essentially what I'm trying to get at is if you have a little bit of profit, take it instantly. Be safe. Always, any profit is better than a loss, right? So you naturally take any profit and reinvest in something else. Same thing with Dzeko. I could have waited till he was 1.5 and already now he's dropped to 1.3. You see, had I waited now, if I list my cards at 1.3, I probably don't insta sell them because there's a lot of people that are undercutting the market. But yeah, so it's stuff like this, and you have to also realize there's about, I think on the PlayStation market, about 6 million listings at one time, compared to the Xbox is 3 million. So that's 6 million other people potentially playing, and that's not even all the cards that are being invested. You have to remember that there's other traders and investors on this market holding on to cards within their clubs and in their transfer lists. So which is why if you see a card, for example, I think these 2 cards are being mass invested right now, which is why you're seeing quite low prices as people sort of want to quit on their investment and save, I guess, minimize the losses, which I don't think is very smart. I think this guy especially will probably rise up when the French League Player of the Month releases, and therefore it's going to be much, much more useful. The next thing I want to say is that when investors all panic sell the cards, don't follow the trend. Keep your cards, because once they panic sell, what that means is essentially you're going to have a bunch of markets on a card, everything's going to be just simply lower, so it's no value for you to sell. Just hold on to your cards and wait till you see an investment or an SBC that comes up, and then sell. You might even, if you have a couple coins remaining, because I made about 170,000 coins from Gareth Bale, Sirigu, and I think potentially 1 lazy buy on these, I would keep and potentially reinvest into this if it drops to 14 again. I don't know if it will drop. I'm hoping that it will rise. As you can see, earlier this morning it was 20 and 35. Now it's 20 and 24. So I'm already minimizing my loss. I'm at 1.1k profit out of all my cards. If I refresh, probably see it change. I'm down to negative 750. This is how fast the market changes. So make sure you guys are always on your toes with stuff like this. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Essentially all I'm trying to get at is just make sure you guys are, I guess, flexible in your investments and just don't panic sell. Hold on to your cards, and if you get a little bit of profit, insta sell it and either keep your coins liquid for now or flip your cards for potential more investments, because it's better than just having your money just sitting there. It's not doing anything if it's just sitting on your transfer pile or your transfer list of winning bids and stuff like that. They're not doing anything, just sitting there if you don't want to for a couple days, maybe. If it's a long-term investment like this, I don't mind holding. But if it's cards like this, I wouldn't recommend more than 2 to 3 days, unless you're unless the market's really bad. Then maybe hold on to them a little longer until you spot a chance at an opening in the market. But yeah, so that's about it for how I use Footband quite a lot. And occasionally I would use something like a squad builder if I want to basically build a potential squad to invest in. But yeah, definitely check out the community SBC solutions. Always useful to see which players are popular. Check out the cheapest player by rating, super useful. Obviously the players list you can list by popular, always something really useful. You can see which cards are really popular in the market, potential investments. Also use the market index, you can use it for different type of cards, specific ratings, let's say 84s. 84s are probably up right now, yep, 102. And then tracker, definitely something useful. So how would you use this? Let me just give you an example. Imagine we add a new trade, you search your player, let's say we invested in Suns because he's really low because of his new thing. Nope, that's the Player of the Month. You can't invest in a Player of the Month. bad. Where's Sun? 87 rated. Right now he's 119. It shows you the price. Let's say you bought one, like you type in the quantity, and let's say you bought one at 110. You managed to snipe one. You can add a comment if you want to just put like snipe. You add an auction. Sun's here. It'll calculate you the after-tax profit and all that, which gives you 3,000 coins per card and the percentage. So here you can see how his price has fluctuated. So you can go daily if you want. Sales is also really important from bin. Bin is what he's listed at. Sales is what he sold at. So you have to essentially really look at mainly sales. And here are all the tabs. If you want to go down and look at different times, you can see like basically how his trend is pretty stable at 1.2. And EA tax is 6,000 coins. So net price is here. So this is how much you would take as a seller. So yeah, so essentially you can see like here, it goes from 126 to 118. 3 a.m. shift, November 13th. What was this? This was probably the Team 2 being released, causing this huge dip. So if I was you, I would have probably invested, maybe not in the Sun, because he's sort of, I don't know, like I feel like he's meta, but with one inform or two, like his card's gonna probably die. Like gold cards right now are probably not the best to invest in long term. Maybe just a flip I would potentially use, but I'd probably go for out of pack specials. Maybe something like a rule breaker could be interesting. Ones to watches are probably interesting. They're really low right now. As you guys saw my, where is it? Thomas Partey's 160 currently. He's usually around 180, so really, really low. Could be an interesting buy there. I might consider flipping one. Semedo might go up later. I think is the France-Portugal game today, or is it tomorrow? If it's tomorrow, I might look to buy one today if he makes the starting lineup, hopefully. If he doesn't make the starting lineup, this will probably crash a little even more, so risky play. I'd potentially even invest in another Bale. 208 is really, really low for a Bale, I think, on a wants to watch cards. I might make a little bit of coins, hopefully, with one or two lazy buys, and then I might just pick up another Gareth Bale wants to watch. And hopefully he rises with either the Manchester City game or something like that. Other than that, I mean, you don't really have to be pressured to make another investment, I mean, anytime soon, because you're going to get, another play of the month coming soon. You're going to get the market crash. You're going to get panic sales before Friday the 13th. Everybody's trying to be early this year. That's why I predicted 2 weeks before the market's already down. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily invest. Like honestly, right now, if you could liquidify, I think once all of this liquidifies, I might sell these three. I probably won't invest until Black Friday, or even a little bit before Black Friday. I think the market will likely recover potentially a little bit before. So it depends. I think we're probably going to see the lowest market we'll ever see next week, mid next week, like maybe the Monday, Tuesday of next week, because I think it's going to be really, really hard for like people to recover. People are going to want to sell and, you know, minimize their losses. So it's going to be something interesting. Wow, we're already down 16k after one refresh. Isn't that insane? 18k now. Something's dropping a lot. What is it? Florenzi? Yeah, Florenzi's down to 1450 instead of 1650. That's probably just a single snipe though. So you guys make sure you. Ooh, 250, 16. Yeah, what is this 1450? I don't know. It's not showing up. Like this shows only the occasional card. So I also like at the same time check on like the actual like web app or like on your PS4, like Xbox or something at the same time, or PC if you play PC. Make sure you check up the actual market prices and, you know, like draw parallels between the actual market price and the Footband tracker. But yeah, so that's it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, I'll come back with another potential market analysis next week. And we'll probably drop a little bit of content if there's a couple objectives and SBCs that are worthwhile doing. All right, everybody stay safe. Lots of love for everybody out there. Peace.